Ladies and gentlemen, as the doorbell rings, that was in my house. We are doing a LEC rundown, as per usual. I'll be on the LEC this weekend, so you won't be catching me too much in the nutsack. I'll swing by, say hello. The rundowns will continue as per usual. For now, let's jump into the state of the league and let's do some predictions. Let's do our usual tier lists and let's talk about the state of the league. I guess the headline is 17-year-old jungler Kasper Douglas Dagiel will be the starter heading into the final week of the LEC for Team Vitality. Bo will be moved to the bench. Not completely unsurprising. I can confirm that this is most likely true. So I'm just gonna act as if it's true. So Selfmade is not playing, Selfmade is a unique individual, but he's already been benched from that team, and he's also been removed from a team where he played together with Upset, where we removed him to put in Bwipo jungle, right? So there's some history there, There's some history there. Someone's telling me Vitality posted the same thing, I guess the official note. Did they post the same thing? Doesn't look like they did. But anyhow. So obviously, look, Bo tweet. Did Bo tweet? Let's pull that up too. I will be back. Alright. I feel bad for Bo, because obviously the whole team is completely dysfunctional, but the issue is that jungle is too essential. It's way too essential for a role to be disconnected from the team. It's like jungle as a role is a centerpiece that connects everything, and it's like it's not entirely his fault. Like, people are blaming him, for example, for the Maokai game, right? Let me just show you guys the facts of that Maokai game as an example, okay? So for sure, right, in this moment, level 1, it is what it is, right? It's like he is on a ward, they're gonna go late to ward the ramp, like he gets killed. It is what it is, right? It's like this happens to, like, I think it's troll to be in this position, but I think it's very hard for them to know that this ward is even there, right? Then the next thing that came up was the whole scuffle around mid, right? The 3v3, because Perks is not running TP, and now it's all about making sure that Perks crashes. He does golems, and then here it's like, imagine a world where here Vitality just don't flash after humanoid, and they accept the situation for what it is. They get the wave push, and then it's GG. But instead they flash after, and the Q doesn't land, and now it's just a disaster. Yeah, Bo, his Q is kind of trash, but Amumu flashes it, so he dies. It's like, so far, well, what can I say about Bo in this jungle, and in this game? Is this game Bo's fault? Should I blame Bo for this? It's like, sure, his scoreline is trash. Yeah, as well, right? It's like, the next thing that comes up, it's now a situation on bottom side. I think this is the one where people accuse him the hardest, right, of inting. It's like, here, this gank angle is perfectly fine, right? They burn the summoners of FNATIC's bot lane, and they get the play in, right, with Varus timer. Perfectly fine and normal, right? Nothing too crazy. And then here, the next one, which he got the most flack for, Bo, is this situation. So here, in his mind, right, I understand why he wants to fight this. Here, Aphelios no sums, Rakan full sums, and Xayah has Kraken advantage. In my mind, if they fought this to the death, they can win really hard. And sure, right? And sure, you can talk about here, enemy team has TP, but look at the condition of Poppy. Like, Poppy needs to base. Ahri need to base. There's a window here for them to murder. Right? Because here, Xayah has flash, cleanse, ult. Rakan has flash, ignite. They win this super hard. Like, as I keep in mind, this is Kraken advantage, Xayah. Right? And here they don't want to fight, they're backing off. And Xayah doesn't want to fight. But this is just the hallmark of a very, very dysfunctional team. This is just a team that doesn't trust each other. They're not on the same page about things. They're not in the loop about things. Because this is, on paper, a very good fight. Right? Then again, right? They lose this because they are not fighting. It's like Upset didn't play this good. And then they get TP'd on finally, and then they die, and it's just the worst of two worlds. So like the key thing, right? The reasoning for this is, I don't think Bo has played well. Don't get me wrong. I don't think he has played well this split. I don't think anyone on Vitality has, for that matter. I don't think anyone has. The team is extremely dysfunctional, right? And jungle is such a central role in that, in terms of connecting the team. Like, the jungler needs to lead the game. Really, really lead the game. Because this is the only role that can impact all lanes. So they make all the decisions. They decide if we do Drake. They decide if you can play aggro or not, depending on enemy jungle decision. They decide everything. And if the jungle has such a big responsibility in the game of deciding the rhythm. The same thing happens in mid game, late game too. Jungle and support are roles that move. They are the ones that control the map and the rhythm and the flow of the map, and they control the tempo. So it's like, even though Bo is not only at fault, this is the place where you can maybe make a change where things might make more sense for the team. And I have to say as well, I don't know too much about Douglas, but I know that Vitality B is not doing so well, right? They're not doing so well right now. I think that they won their second game yesterday with Scarface coming in. He's a very young player. It's going to be a lot of pressure on him. But maybe this is a change-up that is going to, like, revive everybody. But I sincerely doubt it. I sincerely doubt it. So that is the Vitality news. In regards to the rest of the league, we have FNATIC and G2 at the top, already qualified for playoffs. And then we have Mad Lions Team Heretics at 4-2-4-2. Mad Lions with two pretty bad losses in their last two games, in my opinion. And XL beat them, you know, in a very dirty, long game. XL with a 3-game win streak on the up and up. I think something that XL did better than everybody else. I think that they read Europe. What do I mean by saying saying that XL read Europe? Because I think XL by far has the weakest roster out of all of them. But why are they picking up wins? I think they are very humble and they have a lot of humility in their approach to the game. And simultaneously, I think they had a very good read of what Europe is good at and what the weaknesses of Europe are. Because if we look at some of the drafts, right? We just pull up some of the drafts of XL. So looking at XL, Azir, Draven, Poppy, tank top, melee support. They go tank top, melee support, tank in the jungle, mage mid, and then Patrick on his usual jumps. This is the recipe. XL the same here. Maokai, Xayah, Azir, Nautilus, Sion 4-5. Yuumi, Milio out. Same thing here. Yuumi, Milio out. Maokai, K'Sante, Azir, Xayah, Nautilus. They cracked the code. They cracked the code. And the reason I bring this up is because a very interesting topic here is just what is performing well in Europe so far. We have 30 games of gameplay. If we look at just Europe as a competition. The strange thing, right, is champions that are performing super well regionally elsewhere. Nico, LeBlanc, Annie. The teams and mid laners in Europe are just not good enough to find presence within the game. Just not good enough to find presence. They're not good enough at leveraging Fog of War. They're not good enough at playing around jungle. You know? And it shows. It really, really shows. What do most European teams do in their setups towards Drake? They stand together and they bulk up together and they walk together. And this is perfect for mages. This is just perfect for mages. And even though it's a small sample size, keep in mind I'm not taking this only from the sample size. I'm just saying that in terms of what we've seen in the game so far, teams struggle so hard to find any presence in fights with Annie. It's like they are doing these they're doing these very, very bad standoffs. So basically, most teams, they're approaching Drake fights where it's like 5 versus 5 like this. But in reality, with Annie and with Wukong, you need to find angles like this in order to break the enemy's position. And then the enemy needs to like send people to defend these flanks, right? And put vision and put wards. And then it's like Annie plays with sweep and tries to edge in and fight space. But instead, they are doing these standoffs where they're 5 against 5. And obviously, the mages are very happy when there's no one undermining their position. Mages are designed in a way where they are very happy to deal with targets that are running into them from one way. But if you think about Azir Wall or Azir Escapes or Syndra E, they are all in a direction, right? And this is something that Europe just does better. I think additionally to that conversation, when we look at just AD, it's like Xayah is performing insanely well. I think the key thing for AD carry on 13-11, I think the key thing is just Kraken Slayer. So a lot of conversation has happened on this channel about how I said Kraken Slayer on Lucian Army is bait, you shouldn't play it and so forth. I still think this is true, but Kraken Slayer is too powerful not to not buy it, so you have to play the champions that do perform very well with it. So that's the Xayah and that's the Aphelios. And this is another thing that Excel recognized. We saw the Milio and the Xayahs and the Xayah Rakans. They're very, very strong on the patch. We saw a little bit of Kog'Maw from G2, which is interesting. You know, Kog'Maw getting nerfed on 13-13. They're just leveraging that and using Braum, which is super cool. But just wanted to highlight that too. And that is kind of the state of the league so far, you know, in terms of what's happening in Europe. It's the same thing, right? Renekton is dominating. Renekton is dominating across the board in other regions, but the tanks are just performing better in Europe. The tanks are just performing better. Someone in the chat said, surprised the Ashe isn't coming out. Well, Ashe is not buffed yet. It's a buff on 13-12 that she receives. Europe is stuck on 13-11. So there's that. We continue. A little bit of a brief discussion about what to expect in terms of drafting. I think Maokai should just be permabanned. Maokai should just not be opened. I think Maokai really, really loves the circumstances that I just outlined, right, on the Rift Kit. Really loves these, you know, front-to-back fights, and he will always provide value. And, you know, additionally, these mages like Azir don't mind at all that the enemy mid laner buys mercs, you know? I think that we will finally see Yike play other champions than Maokai. Okay. Now for the rest of the league, I think this is a good time to highlight my previous tier list. So this is my previous tier list coming into this week. Coming into week 2, I think it's important to keep myself honest. I think if anything to highlight here, right? It's like, what are the things that stand out as a sore thumb? I believe XL should jump, right? They got a 3-0 week. I thought they're just going to be continuing being the team that loses. I think they're going to jump up a little division here. And I think that mostly it's like BDS probably should be lower. I think that other than that, we've been fairly accurate. I'd say fairly accurate. I think that that's okay. Just wanted to highlight that before we move on to the next one. Before we talk about the schedule of each team, I am just going to make my tier list for basically the strength of teams. I still believe that G2 is the strongest team in the region. I know that a lot of FNATIC fans out there are going to say, well, FNATIC would have beaten them if they had a better draft. And honestly, before the draft, relevancy was in the game. G2 was dominating too. And sure, Lucian Naomi turns out to be very weak. Malphite was not a good pick. But in terms of gameplay, G2 was just better in that match. Even though, like, if FNATIC played a very close match and the difference maker was the fact that their draft was weaker, then I would maybe think differently about it, but I think G2 just played a better game. It's not results based, it's gameplay based. I think G2 just currently have shown more, and obviously FNATIC has only played 6 games. And with the information available to us, I think G2 is the better team. And that could be the advantage of G2 playing already. Like, I think G2 has been the strongest team in Europe the whole year. I think even when they lost to Mad, I thought that G2 was the better team, even after that series. Wasn't Humanoid 30 CS ahead and Zarazuk outperforming Yike? So let me show you, okay? The conversion of the position, okay? So FNATIC versus G2. So there's the crucial moment in the game. So here, right, they already 2v2 killed bot, right? And Viego killed Kesante top, okay? You can call that Viego outperforming Maokai or not. Like, I don't see how this is outperforming in any shape or form. He's playing the stronger early game jungler against Maokai, okay? This right here, right, is like G2 showed a lot of class bot side, a lot of class. They went for this TP play on bot, and G2 are just gaining so much pressure here on bottom side. The TP just doesn't work out, and the TP is just game losing borderline because Ari now is getting platings. And then here the cooperation from G2 to make sure that these platings land, and they send the Herald. Ari gets this huge chunk of gold to then put her in a position where she actually gets the Everfrost. And then FNATIC in this position, they're set up for the Drake. I think that I'm not so sure why they're not like contesting this harder, you know, because they shouldn't allow caps to base. They shouldn't allow caps to base. Razo doesn't contest, Trimby doesn't contest. I thought they could do a lot more here. Like, there's a big item gap on Nico, but they don't stop Ari from taking the plating. Pay attention here, because for some reason the broadcast just teleports 10 seconds ahead here. We're just gonna be teleporting ahead here for some reason. And then Ari is suddenly gonna TP. It's very confusing. Oh, wait, the VOD is fixed. We didn't TP in the VOD. We didn't TP in the VOD, actually. On stream we TP'd. But nevertheless. Even though it's like a 2-minute sequence, like G2's display of class here is a little bit better, you know? Not a little bit, but a lot better. And regardless of draft or not draft, like the conclusion of what we saw for 2 minutes, G2 is just more precise. And keep in mind, you know, things can change. It's just with the information available to us, I don't think I can call FNATIC the better team over G2. I don't think that makes much sense. What makes G2 good is they're very, very strong individual players. They have a lot of draft depth. I think that their individual ceiling is insanely high. I think in terms of macro ideas and how they pressure the map together with the use of jungle and how they connect and how they move around and play for tempo, I think it's the sharpest in the league. And I think that G2's approach to their development after MSI, I can see the ideas that they are working on in their practice. Second team would be FNATIC. I would G2 first, but I'll put FNATIC. FNATIC, my main concern was Oscarinin. My main concern was Oscarinin and Razo's consistency. I was very sold that Humanoid is gonna play fucking good. And he is playing really, really good. I feel like in terms of laning, Humanoid has been really, really insane. Really, really insane. And I think that Noah and Trimby, together with G2's bot lane, are the two bot lanes to look out for. I think that the other teams don't really hold up a candle, besides maybe Mad Lions, right? Mad Lions is a very funky team, you know? When things go right for Mad Lions, they are quick, fast, and very dangerous, right? But the level of inconsistency, it's like Mad Lions has a very high ceiling, but they have a very low floor too. And that's what separates Mad Lions from these two, because it's like a lot of stars need to connect for Mad Lions to really perform that well, because they are really, really trying to squeeze water from stone. But when they squeeze those drops out, it looks damn beautiful. But in pursuit of that for Mad Lions, they often just kind of end sometimes. But nevertheless, FNATIC. I think that FNATIC, just Oscarinin, his Kesante play is fucking gorgeous. Really, really good. I think that his Poppy is also really, really good. I think his Morphight game, I think that was a shit Morphight game, didn't play too well, but his performance against Chasey and Mad Lions, like, that was a turbo 1v9 performance. Sure, he could squeeze more here and there against the Jace in the lane, but the gist of it in my mind is just that game, like the flash engage on Mad Lions, AD carry Aphelios was game breaking for the Drake fight. Oscarinin, you know, I went from skeptical to now I see the potential in this player, and he can be super, super good. The main question for Oscarinin, as any other player that is proving themselves within the region, when the heat goes up, how will he come out of that? Right? When he's playing those deeper BO5s against a G2 and he's playing, you know, for his life, what's gonna happen, right? As always a question, right? When you put together a new roster, it's like Noah's playing, you know, he played in KT and 1 year in of course, Ultraliga. I don't know if it's 1 year in Ultraliga. I don't remember exactly how long he played in Ultraliga. But my point is, it's like that will be the true test. Will FNATIC continuously improve? How they adapt to future metas. I think that future metas are going to be beneficial for them, but I think at the same time Trimby is kind of like the master of playing the range supports, and I think that he is very happy currently. And then when the meta will be like Rel Nautilus, I think that you know, a player like Mickey and Hilly are going to be better than Trimby, you know? So that's going to be very interesting to pay attention to. It's like FNATIC, they're going to have a big meta shift, right? FNATIC took a lot of time to prepare for this split, which is very good. That's what you need to do when it comes to the BO1s. But then there's big meta shift, and then there's BO3s, and the heat gets turned on. And teams get tested differently. I've said this multiple times, that in BO1s, you get to see the worst version of teams, right? And some teams get to also show in that the best version of themselves because they figured out the meta and they have positive momentum and they use the practice in the off-season appropriately, right? Because now with the new format, it's all about preparation. Pre-season preparation is key because you're going to be playing on the same patch for very long and you will not have time to fix things within the span of 3 days of scrims. That's why when one team looks like they're drowning in week 1, the chance of recovery is very harsh and very hard. But then the meta shifts and all of a sudden you see everything from a fresh perspective when you come into a new patch. So from BO1s, the transfer from BO1s to BO3s can be a massive shift of level of play. But I'd like to highlight this, that I think that FNATIC has shown enough on the level of lane phase, enough in terms of level of setup, enough in terms of level of like play and macro, that this is going to transcend the meta. You know, this is more about like the basic fundamentals of the game. FNATIC is up there, and I believe that they are behind trailing G2. I could put them here, I could put them here, right? Like it doesn't really matter. I think that either way, Mad Lions is behind them. Like you can put them wherever you want them, right? I think FNATIC is better than Mad, but just to not convolute it too much, like this would be the order. In regards to Mad Lions, I already mentioned, you know, I think that they have a very high ceiling, but also a very low floor. I think in the pursuit of looking for more, I think sometimes they get caught and they die. And I think this is the kind of, you know, I think the only player that isn't like that is Niski. I think Niski is like the solid player that has a very consistent performance, while the others fluctuate. I think as Elioya goes deeper into the importance of games, I think he becomes more and more solid as a rock, but I think his regular split play hasn't been that impressive this summer. But that's okay, right? That's perfectly okay, because Elioya has enough stocks. It's like he has enough stocks in the Yamato bank that you know, that I trust him to bounce back. All in all, they are very, very volatile players, and I think the lack of consistency right now is what is going to put them below FNATIC and G2. But I think Mad Lions on their best day would beat FNATIC, but Mad Lions on like an average day or a bad day is definitely going to get shit stomped by FNATIC and G2. So it's like things need to align well for Mad, and I think that the last season was proof of that. But Mad Lions are still up there. They're very strong players. Just to also make sure, you know, I talk about Mad Lions. I talk about the ceilings and the floor in terms of their current form. I'm not saying in terms of potential as players and potential like, oh, they can be this good. That's not what I'm talking about. Because that's an entire different conversation. It's like, which team is going to be best after 3 months of practice? Like, who's going to perform the best of worlds? That's a whole different conversation, right? This is live, yes. That's a whole different conversation. But probably I would say that G2, on that level, I would say that G2 is still the best. I think that's just something that comes with having players like Caps and Mickey on your side. So, we've covered the top 3. Now it gets funky. So, Team Vitality. We already talked about the Bo news. Team Vitality is a very incohesive team. They don't do anything together. And they've gotten to the point where even their individual ability is being overshadowed by the fact that these players repel each other. They repel each other and they don't want to do anything together. There's no trust, there's no connectivity, there's no ideas. Team Vitality, I have to put them in D tier. It's harsh, but we're just moving them down as things continue. I think Maybe after I think through about the other teams, maybe I'll move them up. But for now, this is where I want to place them. The discussion about Vitality and Bo and the change already happened. So you can scroll back or look at the vote. They had many unlucky games. They are quite terrible, mate. They are quite shit. But maybe I'll move them up. Maybe they'll go to C. I'll have to go through the rest of the teams. XL, I still will put them C. XL, I think that they caught some thunder, you know? They caught some thunder in the sense that they had a very, very good draft coming into the weekend. I still think that their level of play won't hold up. I think that if teams begin to target Azir and the Maokai, the main question there for me, if XL want to move up the rankings, is that they need to survive through that. You know? They need to survive through that. But the main thing here that is putting XL on C in comparison to the previous one is the fact that, oh, they figured out we're just going to play a tank top, melee support, mage mid, AD carry, and then just a jungler that has low econ. And then we just group up and we make sure that Patrick is strong. That's super good. Big gold star on this team I would give to Patrick. I think Patrick, his Riot Games, he's been really, really good. And I feel like Abedage, when he reaches like 30 minutes into the game, Abedage wakes up. Like when he played that Annie game, even in week 1, after 30 minutes, he was finding some good ass engages. Some of the best Annie players we've seen, all split long. And let's see now if XL can recreate this pattern, right? And this recipe in situations where people are a lot more aware of what they want to pick. So I just wanted to show, because people are talking this was XL versus SK. Let me show you guys this Annie game. So just so I can highlight like the moments that I thought were pretty good. So for example, this one, right? Here, the clock has struck. The clock has struck 30 minutes, guys. Abedage wakes up. Like here, the usage of Fog of War, I think, is pretty damn good. Sure, he ults the floor. But the idea of it is pretty damn good. The thing is, it was 10 seconds away from 30 minutes. So he wasn't in full power. And then there's also XL versus Mad. You know, XL versus Mad. It's like XL versus Mad. He also had a very quiet game. Mad Lions threw a lot, and then he had the game-winning play, where Kazi kind of runs it down and ints. This was a steal, right? This was a damn steal, but, you know, a little bit of Eye of the Tiger there, you know? After 30 minutes, Abedage seems to be awoken. It's just, the Abedage is the gathering storm of XL. But nevertheless, back to the tier list. XL is going to be C for me. I need to see a little bit more durability, but at least there's team cohesion there. There's an identity. There's a commitment to an idea. And I think that, you know, is something that, for example, Vitality is lacking. And it doesn't matter how much better Vitality's individual players are in a vacuum. It doesn't matter if they are not on the same page about anything. So, we continue. Team Heretics. I think Team Heretics deserves to be B. Flacket is slowly growing on me. I think the key thing for me, right, as this week progressed, I think that there was a game where Flacket could carry against Koi. This one, I think he could have carried this game. Like, this was a pretty terrible game from Team Heretics. I think that Evi played pretty decent, but the Casio was kind of non-existent, and Mercer had a rough time. This game was delayed way too long, and I think that Aphelios could have actually carried some of the circumstances. Like, he could have carried this game, Aphelios. Like, he could have carried this game, and I was critiquing him, right? Evi is not that good. Yes, Evi and Mercer is not that good. I think if you've watched all my rundowns, like, I don't need to harp on that anymore, right? I've already made that clear that I will let you guys know if it changes. They are not strong players, right? In the long run, Evi and Mercer are going to be the players that are going to hold them back from qualifying to the World's Qualifier at the end of the season. So I don't need to harp on that. But FNATIC, here in this game, he didn't push her forward enough, right? And it seems like coming into the next day, right? Coming into the next day, he actually made an effort to actually be the one who starts the fights. And I think this was a very, very big glow up. Very, very big glow up. I think in the context of the level up between the days, I was very happy to see that. It's like the right feedback was given and he noticed the right things, and the best AD carries, they are willing to pressure and engage in fights and use their tools. They really are. Additionally, I think that VIT Bo had a fantastic Nico game. So this game, he could carry. He was a little bit of a, I want to say pussy, but we don't use words like that here. He was afraid. And Nico, Aphelios, I just wanted to highlight here Team Heretics. I think VIT Bo and FNATIC, they are growing on me as players. I don't think they are at the top of the echelon, but they are serviceable. Very serviceable. And I think that they are the benchmark. You know, they're definitely the benchmark. Would I want VIT Bo over Humanoid and Caps? No. Would I want FNATIC over Noah and Hansama? No. Alright? Still a lot to prove here, but I think that Jankos has some real players to play around, and when these guys get gold advantages, I think they can be competitive. But still, Team Heretics, they have a lot of flaws in terms of how they convert game positions. I think that like Evi in terms of his gameplay is sometimes quite shocking, you know, like for example this Renekton game. Sometimes his gameplay is quite shocking, and for example this game, like he just died to a gank and then like he just was useless the whole game, you know. Those issues still stand out as a sore thumb. Like as the game progresses, Evi seemingly becomes more and more clueless, and I think the same can be said for Mercer. And I think that they need to play a lot more of a significant role in terms of how their mid to late game is played out. Additionally, I think I don't want to put the full blame on them. I feel like also that Jankos also like shows way too much on the mid wave. Like they need to have some kind of a conversation about this, because in terms of how they contest through mid and they take over river, in terms of how they progress games, it just isn't good. It's like their mid to late game is so Drake centric that they are losing a lot of efficiency on the map. And I think this is the hallmark of many LEC teams, but this is where you're always going to lose against the likes of G2 and FNATIC as the deeper the game goes, because they're just going to distribute the farm and farm better and group around timings that make a lot more sense. And I think that in terms of how you manage side waves, in terms of how you manage the mid to late game, this is where Team Heretics really struggle. Unless they have massive gold advantages that they can convert, because Jankos is very strong in the early game and they have players that are strong enough to use that to win games now. The moment they run into the walls of this team, we can't just break the enemy early game, then Team Heretics will struggle. And I think that's true for all of the teams that are above them in the standings here on my tier list. Koi. You know, Koi as a team, I think in terms of laning, they're decent. I'm thinking Larsen, I'm thinking Shigenda. But the issue is this team, they are so scared. They are so damn scared. It's like these guys, their balls just shrivel up. And they just don't look for anything. I don't get it. It's like the moment mid-game hits, I think the weakness of Advian is showing. He doesn't know where to be on the map, and they don't know where to go. Unless it's like Koi's victories, okay? Let me show you guys Koi's victories, okay? Koi won 2 games. 2 games so far. Koi versus XL, this was because Comp got 6 items. He legit had 6 items and a Yumi, and that's how they won against XL. And this game, they were 4 Drakes down, XL was turbo far ahead, and then Comp got 6 items because XL didn't know how to convert, right? This is back when XL still played like these harder engaged compositions, right? Do you think Advian is LEC level? I don't think so. But what is LEC level, right? So here Comp, 6 items, won the game. Like, this was a terrible game to watch. It was a 15-minute slugfest. Comp had 6 items and then he could carry a fight, right? Another game that Koi won was the game that we mentioned against Team Heretics. This was literally like Team Heretics struggling to convert a very winning position, and then their composition that scaled to 3+ items was just too hard to lose at that point. They have Gwen, Tristana, Lulu, Zeri. Like, if you don't win in a 30-minute game, like, you literally need to disconnect your mouse to lose with such a composition. So Comp is the definition of inactivity. Definition of inactivity. And I think the swap Advian for Trimby just made that a lot worse. What happened to Comp? I think people need to understand that, like, if you play AD carry in Vitality or Koi right now, like, you can't do much. Like, how can you really play if you don't trust anyone to do anything? How can play? Yes, how can play? I'll give you guys an example. Alright? I'll give you guys an example, okay? Let's find this Koi game. They played Nocturne for some reason instead of Wukong, which was horrible. Alright, let's look at this as an example, okay? This game, Koi versus Matt. Koi versus Matt. I'll show you guys. Koi versus Matt. There's like no killer instinct at all. Okay, so Malang is playing the game, right? He looks at this position. He sees Advian is in the bush. Shigenda is queuing. Not sure why the fuck Advian is ulting here. Like, what is this? I don't know why he's ulting here. Like, what's happening? Hyesang is on a journey, he ults there. Why does he ult here? Okay. He's like, wow, I can ult many people, so I'm gonna ult here. And then here, right? It's like, Malrang right now is looking at his Kesanta. He's like, okay, my Kesanta is gonna stack his Q, okay? He's gonna stack his Q. Kesanta's gonna stack his Q. He has Q3, and the enemy is 4. So in his mind right now, Malrang, okay? Here Shigenda has flash, he has Q3, Kazi has no flash, it's 4v5. And then of course, Malrang now ults and goes. Sure, he can maybe hold it a little bit, you know? But in reality here, Advin could be in position to already fight. He could flash over wall, E. This guy has no flash, Shigenda has spells, he can play. But nobody's playing the fucking game. Nobody's playing the game. And then of course, Malrang is the one that looks like a jackass here. Malrang is the one that looks like a jackass here. People, oh, Malrang inted. What the fuck is Malrang doing? But what the fuck is this Kesanta doing? What is this Leona doing? They're not playing. They're not playing the game. Not playing the game at all. Look, what's Kesanta doing? For the love of Jesus. What's Kesanta doing here? What is that? Look at this Kesanta. He starts channeling his W. What is that? What is that, man? It looks like red side is Nocturne ulted. Another example, right? It's like, there's so many examples. Like, what was it? G2, I mean, FNATIC versus Koi. I feel bad for Malrang. No, not this game, not this game. Koi played... They played Tristana. What is the Tristana game? This game, Koi versus SK. Oh my god. Koi versus SK. No testosterone. Really? Look at the condition of this Tristana. This Tristana is right now the GOAT. You know how strong this Tristana is, guys? Jesus. Look how he plays some of these fights, okay? Let me show you. I feel like all Koi players know, like this is my impression. I feel like all players, except Malrang and Comp, they feel like they are fighting for a job for next season. That's what they're fighting for. Luckily, I know a little bit about the game, so I see through shit like this. But most GMs don't. They say, wow, KDA, CS per minute, ho ho ho. I see through shit like this. Here as well. This is also the just inactivity to the max. They walk on the mid wave, they take prio. Look here. Enemy team, for some reason, Akali and Exakik are catching together. Why don't they take over river here? Like, why don't they take over river here? Why don't they like push them out, take some space? Jax is taking your Nexus, you know? Look at the items you have on your AD, you have Yumi. Like, don't you just step in here and look for some space to breathe? But no, like they're like Akali is catching this wave for some reason, just robbing his AD carry in broad daylight. But instead, Koi is just masturbating. Look at them. What are they doing? They went 4 people went back to do Raptors. And then the cherry on top of the cake, right? It's like, let me find the fight where Larsen could 1v9. I'm trying to find the fight where Larsen could 1v9, but it just... Here. As an example. So Comp, I think... I don't know. I watch how Comp is playing. I watch how Malrang is playing. I think these guys are going insane. Because nothing is happening, by the way. I think they're going completely insane. Because this is like... Comp is like fucking engaging here like a psychopath. I think it's just done with nothing happening. So he just runs it down, right? Here as well, Larsen, play the game, bro. Like this is, he's a Swedish, man. He's Swedish. You're in Sweden, man. Why? Well, look, he's rocket jumping out, man. The enemy didn't use anything yet. He's level 17. You guys know how strong he is here. Let's just look at his items. Let's just look at his items, okay? I'm just gonna pull up his items. Look at his items. What is that? Bro, you know... He's scared of Jack's flash stun? Bro. Like, make him use something. Make him use something. Make him use. Make him use something. Or like, don't use W, just walk. Walk out. Like, walk. Like, if you're afraid of, like the Flash. You don't think he can walk like this? Like here? I don't know if you see my mouse. You don't think he can walk? Kite? Just W's, max range. Imagine he doesn't W. But nevertheless, Koi is here. Koi is here. SK, man, SK won this game. SK won this game. SK won this game. Can you believe it? SK, I don't know. I think the more and more I watch, I feel like DOS and Extra Kick were completely overrated. Like Irrelevant had a decent Jax game, but this is against a Koi that don't do anything, you know? It's just nothing excites me about SK. Nothing excites me about this SK at all. Nothing. Nothing. Like Sertus had some decent games. Irrelevant had a fine Jax game. Fine Gnar game, right? Irrelevant had some shit games too. No, they were definitely good in winter, yes. But there will come a time where the community values the players that have managed to have really like long longevity. I think Heretics has improved, but I think also the teams that were their competition has gotten a lot worse. Yeah, I don't know what to add about SK. I think BDS, probably I put BDS here. Yeah, League is a very hard game to have longevity in. That's why players like fucking Mickey, Hilly, Caps, like these players need to be celebrated. Yankos. These players need to be celebrated. Really celebrated. So, BDS, I understand BDS. BDS have a top laner that is going through like health complications. That's very tough. I empathize with that. The main thing here for me that is so tricky is the fact that BDS has completely lost their ability to like BDS's biggest strength was how good Shio was at facilitating bot, but that's just gone. I don't know where Shio is. Shio is not the same player. Shio is not the same player. What has happened to Shio? Shio is not the same player. It's not the same player at all. Shio is griefing. He is griefing. Really, like, really griefing. Like, insanely much. Let me give you an example. Okay? So, there was the game where he played Sejuani against who? He played Sejuani. This one. BDS versus... What was the team? Team FNATIC. Okay. So look at bot condition. Wait, it's not this one. Yeah, it's this one. So, bot lane is playing Jinx, Milio versus Aphelios Lulu, okay? Jinx, Milio, stack a wave, crash, Milio stays, and now Jinx is walking back to item. Walking back with item. Yumi, Aphelios will not crash the wave on time, they can freeze, and Sejuani can gank and win the game. Instead, Shio is doing this. What is this? Well, what's this? Everybody was kung fu fighting. Why is this the play that you go for? Another one. Another example. BDS versus Astralis. To be fair, obviously, like what Renekton did and what Nuke did, like, is so reportable. Like Nuke, like, it's borderline, he should be fined, you know, for such a game. Right? Borderline. Like what Nuke did here, like, is insanity, man. And then Adam tried to fix it. He thinks he's being a bro, but he's like throwing the whole game. So here Adam drops to 1 HP and he has to TP top. Okay, the game is completely fucked. Shio also didn't skill E to kill Sejuani, which he could. Here, the enemy top laner is stacking the most bombastic wave you've seen in a lifetime. So here, you need to defend the dive. I don't know if Adam says he can't get dove, whatever, but like, I feel like this is what BDS have been so good at, you know, securing everything. But look, Renekton's getting dove here, and Shio is now like on a ward mid because he's trying to gank Yasuo. Like, why is he trying to gank Yasuo? What is this? What is this? He's trying to gank Yasuo? At the same time, like, Nuke's lane is just so fucked. Like, it's frozen and Yasuo is full HP, healthy. His lane is completely fucked. Like Nuke, as mentioned before, he just completely solo lost the game, level 1. He's rollerblading at them. He sees Shio in the bush and now he gets dove. So, when it comes to BDS, right? If they want to restore a balance, if they want to restore some kind of balance again, it's like, I don't think Nuke was, like, he had some good Casio games. I give him that. He had some really, really great Casio games. Other than that, I don't think he was that impressive. But other than that, I think Nuke has been very, very unimpressive. Even in BDS's run to finals. He had some fine Syndra games too, sure. I think Adam's inconsistency, Nuke's low ceiling, current ceiling, and Shio's inability to have the same role as he had, the important role for BDS, I'm putting BDS a lot lower. Definitely not an S tier. Now looking at Astralis. I'm not done. Please close the door, I don't know. Astralis. I would even put them here, honestly. It's like Astralis has had some shit games. But honestly, I think they are not that bad. They are not that bad. I have to say, I think Finn is really good. Like if I made like top 3 performance of top lane, Finn would be in the top 3. It would be Broken Blade, like Oscarinin, Broken Blade, Finn. Like Finn has been really fucking good, by the way. Like Finn has been fantastic. I really, really like what Finn is doing. I'm so happy, by the way, because watching this guy in Champions Queue, like he's completely rollerblading on everybody. I think Finn is really fucking good. Like, Photon and Chasey below Oscar, have you watched this split, mate? Have you watched this split? Sounds like you didn't. I'm not saying... I'm saying based on performance, you know? It's like Finn has been fairly fucking consistent this split. Sincerely. Chasey had good games, but he also had pretty bad games. Like the most recent one against Oscarinin, right? Like sure, he's playing Jace against Kesante Copypasta. Additionally, right, we talked about Finn. I think 113, like, let me show you guys. This is the Astralis recipe right now. Astralis, they pick AD, support, and jungle 1, 2, 3. This is the recipe. And then they drop 4-5 with mid-top and they cook something up. Okay? This is what Astralis do every game. They go Zaya, Viego, Rakan, and then they go for 4-5 with top mid. Astralis, Vi, Kaiser, Nautilus, Akali, Sion. So the key thing here, right, is that Astralis are struggling a little bit in the department of meta. And I don't think it's necessarily related to leader. I think they are struggling in the meta department because I think they cannot really function or operate well when Jonghoon is playing range supports. And right now with Milio and Yumi being the most essential, I think that they are quite like, I think coming into the next patch, right? Coming into the next patch, I think they will be relieved. I can imagine Jonghoon completely smurfing on Rel, and then Kobe, like Kobe playing Kaiser, Zaya. I think this is perfect for Kobe. Kobe is like Europe's own Gala. You know, obviously not on the same level as Gala, don't get me wrong, but he's very similar to Gala, I feel, in terms of what he likes to play. Milio will definitely still be meta, but it won't be like first pick ban, right? And you can play Blitzcrank into it, you know? Definitely Milio will be played. But the fact that it's getting nerfed won't make it like really, really OP in every case, right? So, all in all, I think that Astralis, you know, with Leader 2, I think Leader has had some decent games. I think his second Nikon game wasn't that great against G2. But all in all, I think that Astralis is definitely up there, you know? And I can see a world where Astralis in the BO3s overtake Team Heretics. I can definitely see a world where that happens. All right. Now I wanted to have a brief conversation about the championship points. So these are the current standings. I can just remove this for now. So basically, Vitality and SK going to shit is very, very good for FNATIC and Team Heretics. I put FNATIC and Team Heretics in the same sentence because they are on the same points, right? They both have 30, right? So if we look at the rest of the teams, SK have a decent chunk of points, 90. Vitality, 137. Right? That's a decent chunk of points. 130. This, of course, counts summer points. So, in a world where Vitality and SK don't make it, that is direct competition to qualify for the top 6. So that is ideal for all the Team Heretic fans out there, all the FNATIC fans. It's like the current state of the league, it does look like SK and VIT are going to be at the bottom. This is, of course, without me checking the matchups. So this might be, like, changed, right? This is based off of standings and what's happening right now, right? I have to check the matchups because maybe things play out a little bit different, right? In a case, in most cases, it does seem, as long as the teams that are overtaking them are teams that have a lot of points from the previous split and G2 Mad Lions do well, because G2 Mad Lions, they have enough points to qualify already to the regional qualifier, right? So G2 Mad Lions, they're already qualified. So best case scenario for FNATIC is that Mad and G2 do super well, or they outperform them and they go top 2, right? Top 2 secures you regional finals. Top 3, in a lot of cases, secures you regional finals, in most cases. Top 4, it gets tricky. They are auto-qualified because of both. They are qualified because they won splits, and they're also qualified because they have enough points to do so. In almost every scenario. So it goes two ways. Because keep in mind, G2 and Mad, they were in both finals. Right? Well, not G2, actually. Mad was in both finals. So, just to simplify this, seeding is determined by points, yes. Just to simplify this, okay? Team Heretics and FNATIC are in direct competition. If FNATIC make it above Team Heretics, that limits the chances of Team Heretics. If Team Heretics make it above FNATIC in the standings, that's very rough for FNATIC. They are their biggest competition. They are each their biggest competition. Make top 3, and probably with how the standings look right now, you qualify to the regional qualifier. Assuming that Mad and G2 are involved in the top 2. I prefer FNATIC 2. What I'm gonna say is FNATIC are making worlds, okay? That's my prediction. FNATIC are making worlds, okay? Fuck the numbers. FNATIC are making worlds together with Mad and G2. And then let's send Astralis over to across the pond to smash the 4th seed of America. Alright. Finally, what we can do is look at the individual matchups. So we have the LEC. So we have to look at SK. We have to look at Team BDS. Team BDS, SK Gaming, Vitality. Let's also put up XL there, and then who else? Koi, Astralis. Holy, it's getting spicy here in the bottom of everything. Very spicy. Let's pull up the matchup. So Astralis versus SK. We start off with the damn banger, guys. Astralis versus SK. Astralis versus SK. So versus SK. That's the wrong team. And then you have Vitality versus Koi. Also a very big one. And then you have XL versus G2. It's just easier for me to do this from the second screen. Give me 1 second, guys. I'll make it quick. Versus G2. FNATIC versus BDS. We go to day 2. XL versus Astralis. And you have Team Heretics versus FNATIC. It's like, maybe we should involve Team Heretics too here. Nah, they are 4-2. They are fine. They are safe, I think. G2 versus Koi. What else do we have here? BDS versus VIT. And then Koi versus G2. Wait, this is the wrong one. BDS. Alright, and then the last day, we have VIT versus XL. VIT. And then we have Koi versus Ast. Bro, Astralis has quite an easy schedule, honestly. SK Gaming face FNATIC. And then we have SK versus Mad. Holy. That's looking juicy, guys. And Team BDS, final game is versus Mad. Alright. Honestly, it looks like to me that Team BDS and SK are fucked. Wait, what did I do wrong here? What did I do wrong here? Let me pull up the... What did I do wrong? Where's the schedule? Something is off. Something is off in my document. SK versus FNATIC. SK, oh, they play Mad here. That's why it looks weird. Alright, there we go. So essentially, I think Astralis is gonna 3-0. Based on my takes on the teams, right? BO1s are very volatile, I could be wrong. I think Astralis 3-0 this type of a schedule. And I think that they will end up on 5-4. I think Astralis can 3-0 this. No meme. Koi versus VIT, G2 Astralis. I think that they can end. Koi versus on a 3-6 scoreline. Koi. I think they'll go 1-2. XL versus G2 Astralis Vitality. I think that they will squeeze one victory here. And I think that's against Vitality. Which probably qualifies them. Vitality. It is crazy, but I think that... I don't know, it just looks so bad. I don't know. Like, they've been waiting for the light. They've been waiting for It's like, if they lose on the first day, it's already so hard. But Vitality versus Koi is gonna be such a fucking snooze fest that Vitality's schedule actually gives them some opportunity here. It's like Vitality could low-key beat these guys. Just because everybody is so trash here. But I wouldn't feel confident predicting a Vitality win before anything, you know? So it's just with the circumstances of Vitality, you kind of have to imagine that they're gonna, I don't know, it's like, is it plausible that they just go 1-8? It's like, I wouldn't be surprised if there's like a circumstance where, oh, they lose the first one and then they're like statistically eliminated after losing to BDS, and then they go like 2-7 because now when the stress is gone, they beat Excel or some shit like this, you know? It's like, win one game or something, you know? Wow. SK Gaming, I think they're gonna just go a roll 0-3 on this weekend. Just a roll 0-3. And then Team BDS, I think they can squeeze a little victory. And then they will limp over the finish line with a 3-6. So right now it just looks like SK Gaming and Vitality are gonna be the teams that are gonna be eliminated. Based on my takes on the teams. But it's BO1s, guys. It's BO1s, and anything can happen. Like if it plays out like this, right? Then we would add G2 first place, FNATIC second, Mad third, Team Heretics, who did they play? Let's just pull that up real quick. So Team Heretics play Mad. They play versus FNC. Wait. Versus FNC. And then they play against G2. Oof. This could just be a straight 3-0 weekend. So Astralis is ending 4th. Just like that. Astralis is ending 4th. Then XL is 5th. And then you have Koi, BDS. What was the head-to-head? I don't remember the match Koi versus BDS. Koi, BDS. Koi won. Wait, BDS stomped them. BDS won. BDS won. It was a good BDS game. But also because the enemy doesn't do shit. Alright. There we go. Keep in mind, for this to play out, I need to be fucking Nostradamus. So, if this plays out exactly like I've predicted, then I am Nostradamus and I will buy a lottery ticket. Yes, yes. Yes, yes. Yes, yes. That concludes that conversation. I think we've covered everything that is interesting. We covered some draft topics. We've covered some predictions. I can see both G2 or FNATIC dropping a game. Yeah, for sure. It's like Vitality can also pick up a win or two. It's BO1s, right? It's BO1s, and the bottom half of the standings doesn't look that great. They don't look that great, honestly. So many things can happen coming into this weekend, but we're working with very limited information, right? It's like I have maybe 50% of the available information. There's scrim information, there's like information on the inside and so forth, you know, and so whatever. Mad can lose versus Team Heretics? Definitely can happen. But that's the nature of BO1s, right? That is the nature of BO1s. Mad can definitely lose. Bro, Mad could go 0-3 this weekend. G2 could do some dumbass shit and lose a game. The Kog'Maw, the Braum is low-key broken, so I don't mind the Braum. Yeah, Mad is not at the level of G2 and FNATIC in this moment in time. I've been watching much LEC this summer. How's my boy Oscarini doing? Oscarini is doing really fucking good. Really good. Oscarini has been like I was skeptical, but he has great potential for sure. No, for sure. It's like, for example, here, right? If we look at spring groups, here, spring groups. Oh, sorry, spring season. Here, for example, Astralis was second place. I think this was a very fraudulent second place. Because let me tell you, like some of the drafts that people did against Astralis, let me show you, okay? You can't look at only the scoreline. You can't. You cannot look only at the scoreline. Because let me show you some things, okay? This was a pretty clean game. I remember this game was a good game. Look, for example, this, okay? My man blind picked Lissandra. Perks blind picked Lissandra. He picked Aurelion Sol. What the fuck? Excel. Invite the biggest Irelia game of all time. Imagine this is your 1, 2, 3. This is Irelia's dream. This is the biggest dream Irelia game. Because Heimerdinger, he can't put Q down. His Q is just easy one shot. Yeah? Astralis versus FNATIC. Honestly, Astralis was pretty fucking good. I don't think my point makes a lot of sense. Because Astralis played a lot of fucking good games. And I'm kind of cherry picking like 2 games that where they played against weaker teams anyway and they won, so it doesn't matter. It's like Astralis was pretty fucking good. So I don't think my point makes a lot of sense. Anyhow, I think that concludes it.